It's that time of the week, everybody. It's that time of the week. It's Thursday evening, the most wonderful night of the week. Happy Thursday evening, everyone, or Friday morning if you're Martin in Ireland. Nice to have you all. This is great. And here we go. We got some people coming on already. Nice. Nice to see you, Anita. And there's Kaylee, everybody. Kaylee works in the Office of Communications and does such a great job, along with Charmaine, in just so many things. I may have accidentally called her Kayla. I mean, I don't think I did still. I saw the tape, but I don't know what I was thinking, but that's okay. But it's Kaylee, everybody, so I'm sorry about that, Kaylee. But this is a normal thing. I was giving a homily, and that was also recorded, and I said, and how about Adam and Eve and their two sons, Adam and Abel? And I just went right on, and nobody stopped me or anything. Probably they thought that's really embarrassing. He's a bishop and he doesn't know that it was Cain and Abel. But I was already thinking 12 steps ahead. So anyway, so sorry about that. And there's Vanessa, another coworker. That's great. And Roger, I'm just kind of glossing over that and everything. So, all right, you know how I just do this. I'm just welcoming people. I talked to someone today after Mass at the Basilica, and was it then? Anyway, and she said, "I'll see you tonight." And she said, It's funny because I could do it. I know the way you start. You start by saying, "Hello, everybody. Come on in." Yes, come on in. Hi, Janet. Hi, Lynn, etc. I guess I am that predictable, but that's okay. We like predictable these days, don't we? With all the stuff, all the challenges in the world and everything, it's nice to have something predictable that at 7:30 Central Time on Thursdays, I'm probably going to be here. So we got Chris from Colorado Springs, Anita, Nancy, this is wonderful. And then Tony is checking in. Mangarangabi Po. All right. That's a little bit of Tagalog for those who don't speak it, like me. Okay, great. Well, I just have a couple things to share with you, and then I could say hi to everybody. This is great. It's nice to see so many people from Phoenix or Colorado or Arizona, Texas, all over. Yes, Ron, it's like romper room, actually, Panama City, etc. Okay. All right, I'm sorry. I'm just reading some of the comments as I'm talking. What can I share with you? I'm going to share with you a story because I told you I would. It's going to be about beep beep. Today there's going to be a beep beep story. And otherwise, there's not a lot to tell you. I'm still excited. I know I talked about this last week, but the pastoral letter called Sharing the Gift is, we got all the copies. The boxes came in, and now they're going to go out to all the parishes and schools on Monday. And if you're in the diocese, you should be able to get a copy next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. And then soon, or around that time, you'll also get a study guide if you want, and some other resources and everything. I really, really am hoping that this is a time of renewal for our diocese and our local church here, where everyone will be able to just share a little bit their faith with some people, with someone else, a coworker, someone even at the home or at school, or a neighbor, or someone you don't even know. And I'm giving you tools in order to do that. So examples to do this. Last night I was at an event with the Catholic students at University of West Florida, and I talked about the pastoral letter, and then I shared with them my hopes for its implementation in the diocese. And I just said, well, how about you all? Can you give me some examples of how you have shared your faith with someone else? And I'm thinking, college students, I'm kind of putting them on the spot. I don't know if they're going to volunteer, but sure enough, they did. They shared a lot, about how one guy said he was just right before class, he was waiting for the professor, and he just started reading the Bible. He was reading because he does that often. And someone said, "Hey, are you Christian?" He said, "Yeah, I'm Catholic." And he said, but I didn't think Catholics read the Bible. And he said, are you kidding me? We invented it, he said, or something like that. Kind of funny. But they ended up talking about the faith for a long time, before class and then after. And then there was someone else, and he said, well, just the other day he was in the dining hall there at the university, and he got his food, his lunch. He sat at a table and he signed himself, started to pray, and he closed his eyes and he said the prayer, grace. And he said he opened his eyes and there was someone sitting right next to him, and kind of scared him. And he said, oh, hey, are you a Christian? I saw you were praying. And he said, yes, I'm Catholic. And he said, well, I'm really just searching for something, some sort of faith in life. I want to know God. And he said they talked for 2 or 3 hours right there just about the faith, about the Catholic faith. And he invited him to come to that event and come to Mass with him later. Anyway, I love hearing those stories, but it's really neat that young adults are doing that. And I hope that all of us do, retired and parents, grandparents, young people, uh, we'll all engage in sharing our faith with others. So, and you don't have to be in this diocese to do that, of course. Other bishops too are writing books about this. It seems letters about evangelization. Really, I believe that the Holy Spirit is moving us. This can be a new springtime for our church. I really believe that. So you can start to evangelize too. And don't get hung up on that word evangelization. It sounds, daunting for some. So other people say, well, isn't that a Protestant word? No, it's the Christian word. It has to do with sharing the gospel. Uh, and like the evangelists, the ones who wrote the gospels. Anyway, it's something that all of us can do by virtue of our baptism. Okay, great. So that's what I want to share with you. And now I want to tell a beep beep story. All right. Um, Wait a minute. I have a little prop. I think you saw it before. I have a little beep beep here, and I have this prop too. Thanks to my friends in Austin, Teresa Ann especially. Okay, so first the what do you call it? The jingle. Yeah. Who's that car running down the street? Little red car. It's got to be beep beep. And all the children go beep beep, go beep beep, go beep beep, go. All right, good, excellent. It's my little, as you're doing the go beep beep, go beep beep, go beep beep, go. Then here comes beep beep. Like, okay, great. Okay, so it's that time of the year, everybody. It's Halloween. The kids love it. Most kids love Halloween, and a lot of adults do too. For the kids, the only thing about Halloween that they know and care about, of course, is the candy, trick or treating, and dressing up. But it's mostly about the candy, I think. And so every year, Beep Beep knew that it was a special time because the families his humans would, get these pumpkins and they'd carve them and take out the guts and put a candle in there or something and put it outside. And he knew that the kids would get costumes because he would take them to the store and everything, with their parents. But he never got to really see what it was about. He knew that it had something to do with bags of candy, but he could never go because they walked around. They didn't use him. They didn't drive in him or anything. And so it was kind of sad for Beep Beep. He just thought, one year I really hope that I get to experience it. And he would sit in the garage all night and, he'd hear kids laughing outside and they'd come up and ring the bell and then he'd hear kind of a muffled thing, and and then they'd walk away laughing and everything. So he thought, I wish I could see it. Anyway, so he's sitting there in his garage and it's the afternoon of Halloween and everything. It's getting a little darker and the humans are eating. And then all of a sudden, right when they would come out to do trick or treating, instead they come out into the garage and the kids are dressed in little costumes and they have empty bags. And, one of the little kids is dressed as a pirate and the other one's a Spider-Man. And he's like, oh, what's going on? Am I going to drive them around? I mean, the weather's nice and it's not cold. I wonder what's going to happen. And then the adults put in a cooler in the trunk and then this big bowl of something. And they close the trunk and they all get in and he says, I don't know what's in that bowl. I have no idea. I didn't see it. I didn't have time to see what's in it. But anyway, so they're driving and he's like, oh boy, I get to do trick or treating with the kids. This is going to be great. But they keep passing all the houses. They're driving and they're not stopping. And he said, wait, aren't we supposed to stop? And aren't the kids supposed to go ring the bell and everything? They weren't stopping. They're driving. And he's like, this is weird. I wonder where we're going. And pretty soon he says, wait a minute. I know this route. We're going to their school? And sure enough, they were going to the kids' school. And it's getting dark. And he thought, this is really strange. I have no idea what we're going to do. I thought we were going to go trick-or-treating. We're going to the school, and they park and everything. All these cars are parked in a line, a big kind of a square all around the parking lot. And the kids get out and they run into the school and they're happy and everything. And there's other kids and they're all running into school. And the adults open up the trunk and they get out the cooler and they put it a little bit nearby, and they have some lawn chairs and they sit down, and he sees, oh, that's what's in the cooler. The adults might be having a beverage or two, an adult beverage, which is fine. They're over 21. They can do that as long as the drivers weren't. Of course, it was the non-drivers who were just having a beer or something like that. And so they're sitting there and they're just talking, but he still thought, this is weird. I mean, we're just going to sit here and just the adults just sit here while the kids are in school. And so he says to the car next to him, he's like, hey, hey, psst. And she says, yeah, what? And he said, well, what are we doing? And she said, what are we doing? What do you mean? This is trunk or treat. And he said, you mean trick or treat, don't you? And she said, no, this is trunk or treat. That's why we're here. Why else do you think we're here? Okay? Now, I'm just trying to pray, so just don't bother me. So Beep Beep thought, wow, that's weird. Not weird that she's praying, but she didn't want to be bothered. Anyway, he was in a good mood. Obviously, she wasn't. Anyway, then all of a sudden the doors open and all the kids come running out and they go to the cars, the different cars, and they yell, trunk or treat. And then they reach in and they get a piece of candy from each car. And then they go to the next one and they're doing that and they're having fun and there's some music there and everything and there's some spooky lighting and all that. I don't know what I've never been to one of these, but anyway, so it's festive, and kids are going around. Anyway, Beep Beep's loving it because he gets to see all the costumes. He sees a lot of the Disney princess costumes. He sees a lot of Star Wars stuff. C-3PO and Darth Vader, and all that. And then he sees little Ewoks, and he thought, oh, that's awesome because they're little kids and they look like Ewoks anyway, yeah, he sees people dressed up as a cowboy or pirate, other things like that. And he's having a great time. But he sees this one kid, he's kind of, alone, and he's got this look on his face, he's not wearing a mask. I don't know. Oddly enough, ironically enough, he is a police officer. He's dressed as a police officer. So this kid, he knows I already got some candy from his trunk. But he comes up and he's looking around. He doesn't see any adults. So this kid reaches in and grabs a whole bunch of candy. It's the Tootsie Rolls that was in that that's the candy that the humans brought and they had in Beep Beep's trunk. Those big Tootsie Rolls. And this kid was just grabbed a whole handful and put them in his bag and ran off. And Beep Beep's like, that is not nice. I mean, that's not fair at all. Because there's other kids who they're just coming. They're not going to get any because he's taking all of them. Anyway, he's trying not to focus on it, but sure enough, he sees this kid lurking, and this kid's coming up to Beep Beep, looking around like this, and he goes right up to Beep Beep, and Beep Beep's like, where are the adults? Why aren't they watching this? And the kid leans, he puts his bag in there, and he picks up the bowl to pour it, all of them, into his own bag, and Beep Beep's like, that is not right. So Beep Beep does two things immediately. First, he honks, he goes beep like that, and the kid gets scared and backs up, and then bam, goes down the trunk. Beep Beep drops the trunk with the kid's bag in it and all. And now the kid is like pulling on the trunk, he's trying to get it open and banging on Beep Beep, open up. And Beep Beep's like laughing. He's like, this will teach that kid not to steal. Again, this kid's dressed as a police officer, so it's just ironic. But anyway, he's banging on the door. Anyway, he won't do it. So finally he starts crying. Beep Beep feels a little bad, but not a lot because this kid was stealing candy. And he's crying like, my candy, I don't have any candy. And finally the adults come over and like, what's the matter? My candy's in there, my candy. So they open up the trunk and everything, and they see this kid's bag. It's filled with almost all of the Tootsie Rolls except for one that was left in the bowl. And the Beep Beep's humans, they looked at the little boy and they said, you were going to take all of those Tootsie Rolls, weren't you? He's like, well, my sister can't come, so I was going to take one for her. And then my friend, he lives in another state, and I was going to save one so when he visits and stuff. So they're like, don't steal. You should only take just one thing. Look at all these people. We need some for them too. And he says, hey, I guess so. And they're like, look, you need to give give your Tootsie Rolls away. Give every Tootsie Roll that you have to all of those kids over there, all those new kids that just came. And he's kind of sad, but he goes around to each one and he puts each one in each person's bags. And all these kids are like, yay, it's a whole Tootsie Roll. They're so excited because it's the big one, not the little fun size. Which, why do they call that fun, by the way? It's not fun if it's just a little one. It's fun if it's the real size Tootsie Rolls. Anyway, so he's putting them in there. He's just getting sad. He looks in his own bag and he doesn't have any of his Tootsie Rolls. He has other candy, but he just, that was his favorite. So he kind of walks back to Beep Beep and his parents and Beep Beep's humans, and they look in his bag and they're like, did you give them all away? Yeah. Did you learn anything? He said, yeah, I guess you shouldn't steal stuff. Yeah, the lesson is to be happy with what you have, okay? And he says, but I didn't get any of my favorite candy. I didn't get any Tootsie Rolls. And they're like, hey, buddy, look in the bowl. And there was one more Tootsie Roll in the bottom of the bowl. So he reached in there with his little hand and he pulled out the Tootsie Roll. He was so happy. And then he put it in his bag and he walked away. And it was a great trick or treat. It was a great Halloween for Beep Beep and for all the kids. And our little police officer learned something that day. Don't steal Tootsie Rolls. There's plenty to go around. That, I guess that's the lesson there, everybody. So write that down. Don't steal Tootsie Rolls. There's plenty to go around. I think I told you before, it's hard to end these things. And I had to come up with a little adage or proverb at the end. But there you go. Okay, great. So anyway, so it all worked out in the end. You know, in my, okay, now put the kids to bed and I'll wait for a second until or cover their ears. Okay, because in practicing this, I thought maybe, the kid was going to climb in there and Beep Beep was going to teach him a lesson and just close the trunk with the little boy in the trunk for a little while, just to teach him a lesson. But I think I did the beta testing with someone today on that, and they said, no, that would be too scary. So we're not going to do that. We didn't do that. Okay, you can take the earmuffs off the kids. Okay, great, everyone. It's good to be with you. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, again, I do this so that we all remember that we're all together. It's good to laugh sometimes. It's good to just kind of talk about other things other than all the things that people are talking about in the world, And it's kind of nice just to remember that God loves us, God is with us, and we are one community. We're all brothers and sisters, children of God. So I'll say a prayer for you as you go. And also just remember that while Halloween is fun, maybe to put out a pumpkin or two and, have the kids go trick-or-treating. Obviously, the major celebration is not Halloween, but it is All Saints' Day and then All Souls' Day. This is a time for us to really pray for those who have died, those who are in purgatory, those who have yet to complete their journey to heaven, as well as our saints, official and unofficial, in the kingdom of heaven, and talk about remembering who we are, all together. We're all one. There's the church here on earth, the church that is in purgatory, and the church that is triumphant in heaven. We're all one body, and we're all together. And so hopefully you will have some opportunities to reflect and to pray for those who have died, and to remember that that's our hope and our goal as well, is to be with them, all the saints in the kingdom of heaven one day. All right, let us pray. Good and gracious God, bless all your children, for we are your children. We are your beloved. Help us to be strong. Help us to be safe. Help us to be a good comfort for one another, so that we may embody the hope and the joy of the gospel, knowing that you have given us life, you have forgiven us, you offer us everlasting life in the kingdom of heaven.